What's going on, fellow humans and resellers? It is I, James, redoptionagency.com, urban-picker.com. 24 years selling full-time on eBay. We got Pee-wee in the house. We got Pee-wee sitting right there on the L, just chilling. All right, we're gonna get into the numbers for yesterday. For a Thursday, I took 5 totes to the post office. So finally broke a trend that was going on all week. So that's a positive. First I want to I'm just going to say this. You can tell the difference on who's a reseller and who runs a business when it comes to comments on YouTube videos. What I mean by this is with the eBay promoted change, sure, none of us like this, right? And I am for one to say voice your opinion and say it loudly. And I think we all need to go backwards somehow in order to make it look like, or just to make it not work on eBay's end, to show that, all that matters to them is the bottom line. So they're paying attention to that bottom line. So if their bottom line starts going backwards because of change they made, then they're going to see that, because that's the only thing they're paying attention to. They're not paying attention to you and me and any other seller around the world, or even the buyers. They're paying attention to that bottom line. That's the only thing that matters to them with this current administration that's running eBay. So the only way they're going to hear us is for us to find a way to manipulate that bottom line. And with this new promotion thing, the best way to do that is to go backwards somehow, some way, and hope that that's going to be enough to sway that bottom line to go do instead of do. Like I said before, it's unrealistic to tell everybody to stop doing it. That's just unrealistic. There's too many sellers that you and I and everybody else on YouTube, we can't reach them all to say, hey, we should all be in this together. Hell, some of them probably don't even pay attention to social media because they're too busy, right? The only thing they care about social media is promoting and sharing and driving traffic, to their items. Other than that, they're too busy running a business. So when you see these comments on YouTube, people putting down people who use promoted, or saying things like, I never drink that Kool-Aid, or calling people names who use promoted. You can tell the difference between, those are just resellers. They don't run a business. A business doesn't make decisions based on emotions. They make decisions based on numbers. They make decisions based on the bottom line, just as eBay is doing in this case. So the only way to affect them is to sway that bottom line. That's the difference between a reseller and somebody who runs a business. That's why I always say, know your numbers. That's why I give you my numbers on a daily basis to put in your head, pay attention to your numbers. So that, because the numbers are your indication that something is wrong, that something's going in, if you don't pay attention to your numbers, you could be going out of business every day and not even know it, and just be ignorantly blissed to it. And before you know it, you're in a whole lot of trouble and you're closing shop and you don't know why, right? So, and you never even gave yourself time to say, well, that's not working. The numbers are not coming out right. Let me adjust, right? By the time you figure it out, it's too late and you don't have time to adjust and change things and try to right the ship. You're already underwater. So that's the difference. I'm just saying this because so many videos are being made and I'm just kind of combing through the comments. I comb through comments more than I watch videos. Because that's where you can get where people's heads are at in more of a, the video, you're getting one person's opinion. In the comments, you're seeing many people's opinions. And I prefer the many over the one, right? So That's how I try to judge things and stuff. And there are a lot of people who are saying they're just turning it off, right? And then there's people who saying, they're just backing down. So I think if everybody does one of those two things, that there's a good probability that we can get that line to start declining when it comes to this new promotion. So I'm not here to say turn it off. I'm here to say know your numbers, and if you pay attention to your numbers, you're going to at least have to go backwards in order to sustain what you have right now. So if everybody does that one way or another, there's a 50-50 chance that that line is going to go the opposite way. So, and then that's when they're going to notice, that's when it's going to matter, and that's when the masses made a stand and swayed a decision. So, boo-doo-boo-boo. I on one hand want to call out a couple people who I do, but I don't. They're blocked from my channel, but they go on other channels and they write paragraphs as if they know it all, but yet they don't even show their faces on who they are, and if you had that much time to type paragraphs on other people's videos, like if you were running a business, you wouldn't have that time. If you were successful, if you were doing something productive in your life, you wouldn't have time to write paragraphs on people's videos, right? So those people are literally doing nothing all day except responding to videos and writing paragraphs. So you know that in the end, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know what the hell they're doing because they're not implementing it on their end. Because if they were, they wouldn't be there trying to say, oh, look at me, I'm smart. It's just, it's pretty sad when you, one of them starts with a B, one of them starts with an A. And that's all I'll say. So, and you'll see them. If you read comments, you'll see them. You know who I'm talking about. Like, they've been blocked from my channel and pretty much everybody's channel that I know of for quite a long time. So, because it's beyond ridiculous. These people think that they're this all telling, all smart. Yeah, no. You're afraid to even use your own picture, all right? Go back to bed in mommy's basement. Try again tomorrow. All right. Last night was rough for me, but the sinus headache came back in the back of my head. Pretty brutal. So I got up at, I think it was like 3, took some meds. No, I didn't take the meds then, did I? I got up to, what did I get up for? Go to the bathroom. Pee-wee didn't need to go out, so I went back to bed without taking the meds, which was a mistake. Tried to get up for a little bit to see if I could drain some of that, but then forgot to take the meds. It's 3 a.m. I forgot. So then I got up again at 5 and took the meds and put mentholatum like in my nose to breathe, to get some clarity. And then it finally went away, so I was able to fall back to sleep about 6 and get a couple of hours. I woke up at 9, actually, so 3 hours, so that was good. But the difference between now and before I went to the doctor is, before I went to the doctor, apparently all these years, on top of what I dealt with last night, I was dealing with inflammation. Because now I feel stuffy a little bit, but I don't feel miserable. Where before I went to the doctor and had the inflammation, I was just miserable all day long. So that's been kind of the difference. So after I get done with the video and put more Vicks there, I just didn't want to be shiny on video and you'd be like, your eyes couldn't come off of my shiny mentholatum mustache. But so back to listing today. It looks like we may finally hit one of my goals for the week. So as you know, we'll go over them separate goals for each category. It looks like we may just hit one. Which one, you may ask? Can you guess? Is it items listed? Is it items sold? Is it money made? Or it's one of those three. Which one did I get? Or which one does it look like I'm going to hit? Let me see. I may already actually hit one. Let me check the numbers for today. Let me see how much I'm away. Okay. Okay. Let me... and probably not over here. I'm right there. One I will hit today. Yay. All right. Hold on. I may have already hit it. Hold on. Let me recalculate. Nope, not yet. Okay. Alrighty. So listed yesterday, 143 items, bringing the week total to 639. That goal is 1,500. If I worked really, really hard, I could get that goal. If I found some items that I had plenty of that I didn't have to look up, I could make that goal of 1,500. But I really don't. I have to look everything up to make sure I don't have it listed in my store. Number of items sold yesterday, 71 items on the media store, 23 on the clothing store. So second day in a row, we hit over 90 items sold. So 94 items with a run total of 470. Our goal there is 500. I've already got, so I need 30 to hit my goal. I'm already at 24. So I only need 6 more to hit that goal. So biggity bam, that is the goal we're finally going to hit, the first one. All right, money made yesterday on the media store, $732. On the clothing store, we finally broke that trend, 308. So we were always right within 240 to 260 all week. We finally broke that trend. Yay. With a run total yesterday of $1,040, bringing the week to $5,459. And that goal is 7,000. So we're $1,600 away from that one. So it'd be nice to hit that one, but we're not going to hit that one. It'd be nice to have a $1,600 day. I haven't had a $1,600 day probably since I did shoes. Where are we at today? So we're a little after 10 a.m. I'm at $92 on the clothing store. And the media store, I'm at $163. So we're close to $250. So that's a good start out the gate. Offers still messed up. Within the last 12, 13, 16 hours, I've only got 2 offers in 16 hours. So boo, the offers are still jacked. Jacked, I say, jacked. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Boink. Let me see if there's anything popping up on YouTube that can get me something to talk about. I'll try to be nice today. It's Friday. I'll try to keep it in good spirits. Not getting upset over these people who fail at reselling just to do YouTube videos. I can't cut it as a reseller, so I am going to tell people how to fail at reselling, but make it look like I'm a coach. Remember, if a coach can't pull it off, how do you expect them to teach you to pull it off? James, you said you were going to play nice. I'm sorry. It's the truth. It's just the truth. I'm sorry. Oh, Josh has got a new video. Josh has been editing videos. If you haven't watched Josh Galt's videos, check him out. He's making videos now, and he's doing a pretty damn good job with editing, so I'll watch that one later today. Like, I don't have the time to sit. I would love to sit down and actually edit a cool video, but man, I would just feel like it's time wasted. Especially if I don't have anything cool to shoot. Like, he's doing a cool shoot, you know. When he came to St. Louis and did, you know, that's a cool shoot. Cool B-rolls even, you know. Like, what's my B-roll? The puppy's playing. Well, I'll just make that a video, and why edit? Just upload. So, yeah. My first 2,000 net sales month. There's another, I guess, reseller I've never seen before. Taylor Joe. I like these newer, my other channels where it's just pulling up a lot of smaller channels that I can check out. Let's see. Who's this James Overstay guy? Dad, he's got a lot of videos out there. Bet you he's an asshole. Probably don't even know what he's doing. I'm sure he sucks. All right, so this person, let's see, how I destroyed my reselling business in 18 months. And this was 1 year ago. So let me see if they're still making videos or if that was just a clickbait type of thing. They had a Ben's haul 4 months ago, and then they've done a life video since then, and I hired a private chef to cook our meals. Well, if you've hired a private chef, I guess you got money coming in somewhere. If that's really what they're alluding to. That could be something to talk about. Like, you know, these people who, all right, so again, I'm going to try to keep this in a not demeaning way. That people preach so much on STR, and you could have a small store to make a living and stuff. And that's all fine and dandy, right? I mean, that's good. But that's not the only way. So when you see a lot of people who, I mean, I think just last week or something, I had somebody commenting again on my videos about that. About, oh, it's got to be high STR, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, these people have been molded, one way. They've paid $20, $30, $40 a month just to be told something and to be indoctrinated with something. So they don't want to feel like they've wasted their money. So they're just in this tunnel where that's the only way to do it, right? A true business person knows there are many, many ways of doing it. And eBay is no different. eBay is just a platform, right? How you run your business on eBay can be done many, many different ways with many, many different products. And these people who feel and talk like there's only one way, they're not going to succeed, honestly, because that's the only thing they see. And once they hit a roadblock or something bad happens to disrupt their tunnel, it gets clogged with one thing, they have no way out. They're stuck. Right now, if you don't view it as there's only one way to do it, and you're like, you go, you do your way, I'm doing my way, let's go, right? You take it like that. You can see how everybody else is doing and what person A is doing, what person C is doing, and you know what person B is doing because it's you. So if something happens to your situation that puts you in a roadblock, you know what A is doing, you know what B is doing. Okay, is there anything I can take from them to get around this roadblock I've got? How are they sourcing? Okay, maybe I try it this way. Maybe I, oh, James always talked about a foundation item. Maybe I go find a foundation item to add to my high STRs. Since right now I'm not getting high STRs. So let me build a foundation. And then if you have that wide open mindset, you're going to be able to adjust to any problems, and that's only going to take you higher. Whereas if you only have that one mindset, once you hit that roadblock, you're done. You're dead, at least for a small period of time. It's a stumbling. So again, people who just preach that's the way and that's the only way, walk away from them. Walk away from them and just watch people doing it many different ways and just taking it in. So when you hit that roadblock, and it's going to, things change over time. Like I said before, the latest trend is vintage clothes went. If that was your only STR and that was your tunnel vision, you hit the wall. You went out of business because that's all you saw. You had no idea how to adjust. You just went, and life sucks for you. And that's because you wouldn't have kept an open mind at how other people are doing it and what they may be doing and how you could adjust what you're doing until you find the next trend or until that trend comes back around, even though it's probably like 10 years away or so. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like if you hit the people who say this is the way to do it, walk away from them people. You don't need that. Go to the channels that are just showing you how they're doing it. Pay attention to how they're doing it and understand and respect that there are many ways to do it. And then you're going to be in a lot better position when roadblock hits you. So, all right, enough for me. I got to get to work today. It's just Friday, so I don't know what I'm going to do today. Nice day. I'm going to open the windows. I know that. But I don't know. I don't know what I want to do today. So I'm just going to wing it and do whatever the hell I want to do today. So, all right. On that note, hope you guys have a good weekend. If I don't pop back on, I'm sure I will, at least with the numbers tomorrow because it's the end of the week. And I will see you all in the next video. Later.